excited about it. There continue to be, I think several of you, most of you have probably read that we've been in the papers lately, and I want to be really honest with you. There are some details of things that I can't talk about because I don't want to engage in a back and forth with people that disagree. I want to respect people's rights to disagree with us. But at the same time, some of the things that get said aren't true, and I think it's okay to address those. If you have concerns, I'd love to hear them, and I'll tell you if it goes into more detail than I can go into. One big factual error that I saw in one article was that somebody said that there was a month-long process that ended in a tenured professor leaving. Well, it was not a month-long process. It was an 11-month-long process. Or depending on how you look at it, it was a 35-year process. It has been a very, very painful time in Erskine's history because nobody wanted this particular. Everybody, do like this if you know what I'm talking about. And do like this if you don't. Raise your hand if you got no clue. Because I can fill you in a little bit. Okay, we all pretty much know what I'm talking about. This is not the way we wanted everything to end. And yet, here we are. And we have to be honest. And we have to move forward. We're in a similar situation a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago now, I guess, with when the ARP Church and the Erskine Board of Trustees got in a dispute. To be honest, that stuff hurts. And yet, truth matters, and we have to move forward. We have to forgive where forgiveness is necessary, and we got to do what's in the best interest of our future students. So that's what I'm interested in. I don't think you'd be here if you weren't interested in that too. So I want to thank you for your continued support and ask if there are any questions about anything. Anything you've heard tonight, or anything you've heard in the papers, or anything you've heard anywhere.
Reference to having lost 800 donors. Could you expand on that?
Yeah, over the last 4 years, one of the first things that David Earl did whenever he came to campus was start looking at our data to try to figure out kind of what was going on, how are we doing. First of all, how are we able to raise the amount of money that we're able to raise every year, considering the size of school we are. It's pretty phenomenally good. But then also looking at trends, and the first chart I saw him pull was a 4-year chart, and it showed a steady downward line. And so the natural question is, what in the world? What in the world happened there? Well, a lot of things have happened in the last 4 years. For those of you who watch the markets, you've seen that the economy hasn't been doing too well. If you look at other institutions of similar size and constituencies, their lines look a whole lot like ours. But we know that there are more issues involved too. We know that social media has not only exploded in the last 4 years, but it's been particularly interesting in the Erskine context. Because, well, I don't know, maybe some of you saw this shirt. I heard that a few years ago there was a t-shirt that said, Erskine, where everybody thinks they know what you did last night. Anybody remember this t-shirt? Does this t-shirt actually exist? Can anybody? Well, it should be a good t-shirt. Because at Erskine we care about each other. And sometimes that means we care more than we should. And if we don't know what happened, we sort of make up things. And so we end up with a gossip machine. And I think that there have been some bad things that have happened over the last few years. And then those bad things have been amplified through social media. Has that hurt our bottom line? Probably so. There have been some bills that have been paid by Erskine donors that probably was a good idea, but they've gone through another organization. That's been an expense that some of our donors have gone into another category. There's a pretty long list of things that are possible causes for that. But I think that our time would be better to think about how we bring some of those donors back to the table, and then also how do we build new donors. Some of that means addressing directly as possible, some of the scary things that are being passed around in the on social media, where we have rumors that may not be true. We need to address them head on and be as honest as we can about that. And where people are adversely affected by economic pressures, we just need to be patient. And we need to say, you know what, we're not going to run. We published the annual report. The annual report's coming out soon. Went to the press today. As it is the New West chapter meeting, I probably said it a little more strong than I intended to, but we got to be generous to people. Whenever they're not giving what we know they could be giving, let's don't hold that over each other's heads. People got all kind of different reasons. We need to be patient and loving and recognize that when people are giving to Erskine, they're giving out of generosity. So I feel like I maybe danced around your question, but I think maybe the most direct answer is I don't know exactly. And I think that there are probably as many different reasons for why people stop giving to Erskine as there are reasons that people start. Question?
Let me ask a follow-up question. What was that 800 represent? How many donors did you have? How much money was given? What's the average share? And what was that 800 represent in terms of loss? Not just in terms of percentage of donors, but in terms of revenue.
Yeah, do you have any of those stats on your, it's been a little while since I looked at those reports, David.
I couldn't quote them off the top of my head. I have all that, but I can tell you that 2 years ago,
Would it be significant, I mean, is it significant in terms of the number of donors and the amount of money?
The amount,
it's the difference between hitting the unrestricted goal 2 years ago and not hitting the unrestricted goal this past year. And we were over 2 years ago by 80,000. We were below the unrestricted goal this year by about the same amount. So in the ballpark of $150,000 to $200,000.
in the overall scheme of things spread out over the last 4 years, the goals have gone up. I think we held steady this year. In the overall, like when you look at the line, it's not. If you put 0 down here, and 2 million up here, the line doesn't go like this. It goes more like this, right? So it's not going off the cliff.